All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining in tonight. My name is Gabby from the Buncee community team, and welcome to our last back to school webinar of the month. Yay. I'm very excited to see everyone here joining in from all over. And I'd also would like to go ahead and introduce my colleague Jenna, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about the giveaway before I hand it over to our guest presenter, Melissa. So Jenna, welcome, and if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Jenna, also from the Buncee community team, and tonight is going to be fun. We have Melissa Stark, our fellow New Yorker here, and yeah, really looking forward to it.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks. So I'm also really excited to share that we are doing a giveaway this evening. So give me 1 second to go ahead and share my screen. I'm sorry, Melissa, I'm going to just share my screen really quickly. Just to talk about the giveaway. So really excited this evening. We do have a giveaway. If you are really wanting to be entered for a chance to win one of these really cool Buncee blue shirts, it's the Eat Sleep Create in blue. It's my favorite color and I really love these. They're so fun and sunshiny. If you want to be answered for a chance to win one of those, we are going to be picking one lucky winner this evening. Please make a Buncee about what you learned during this session. Melissa's going to go over so many amazing things. Pick one thing that you learned or that really stuck with you, make a Buncee about it and share it with us. Tweet it at us on Twitter, tag at Buncee, and be sure to use the hashtag BTS with Buncee. And you will be entered for a chance to win one of these blue Eat Sleep Create t-shirts. So definitely be sure to do that. I'll go ahead and stop sharing. And without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Melissa. Before I do, actually, Jenna and I will be available in the chat to answer any questions that you may have as we go along. And at the end, we will have a little Q&A session with Melissa as well. So Melissa, again, I turn it over to you. Welcome. Thank you so much for doing this and for walking us through accessibility and inclusivity.
And thank you, Jenna and Gabby, for having me, and to the entire Buncee community, and to all of you for spending this time with us. I'm really excited to show you what we've been doing back to school, some of the activities we've done with my students, and really to kind of talk to you about how Buncee has this amazing way of working with our students, especially to support accessibility and inclusivity. So just a little bit about me. I'm a special education ed tech model teacher in New York City's Department of Education, District 75, which supports students with special education needs. Please feel free to tweet at me, Melissa B. Stark. I really love the fact that we have such an amazing community in Buncee, and I learned so much from so many different people. I am the teacher I am because I have learned from others. So I am so happy to be here and sharing this with you. So today we're going to talk a little bit about accessibility and inclusivity. We're going to look at that Immersive Reader, which is one of my favorite tools. I'm going to show you how I adapted items for in-person and remote learning. We're going to go into the Ideas Lab and question answer. And I'm going to tell you that talking about Buncee makes me very excited, and also the idea about accessibility and inclusivity. It really is my passion at making sure that all students have what they need, and not even just students, us as adults and our students' families. So just a little bit about accessibility and inclusivity. So accessibility, when we talk about it, it's the quality of being easily understood or appreciated. So we want to have our students share what they know. We want them to feel that they are understood, that we are thankful for the thoughts they're sharing, and we want that to be known. And with inclusivity, we really look at the practice or policy of providing equal access to opportunities and resources for people who might otherwise be excluded or marginalized. And that is so many different that can be looked by so many different communities, so many different people. And it's really important we are all in this together as we go through this. So we're going to look at a couple things. How can we use Buncee to make lessons more accessible for our students? And how can we use Buncee to make our students feel included? And I'm going to share with you, this is from the National Joint Committee for the Communication Needs of Persons with Severe Disabilities. It's the Communication Bill of Rights. It is something, if you want more information about it, you can go to www.asha.org/NJC. What this is it gives the basic rights that all of us should have as communicators. And it was updated recently. It was updated more as we've been home and because of the things that have been going on in the world. We've seen so many different changes to our world and changes to different people, especially with disabilities. But we also want to accept that and encourage that broader community acceptance. So this is a really great thing to look at. I know the print is very small, but definitely take a look. But everyone deserves the right to have their wants, their needs shared, their emotions. So our goal is, how do we do that in students? And the thing that I love about Buncee is when you look at Buncee's pictures, they include all types of students, all kinds of adults, and all kinds of people. So my students, when I have pictures, they may see themselves if they're in a wheelchair, or they may see themselves if they are using a walker, or are using a communication device, or have different skin tones, or maybe wear a hijab, or different things that really represent themselves. So I really love that Buncee makes such an important part of having that, because it really makes our students feel represented in what they're doing and what they're sharing. Immersive Reader. Immersive Reader is something that I could not be more thankful for. And I'm going to tell you a little story. When we first went to remote learning, I speak some Spanish. Not great Spanish, but I do my best. But we were doing one-to-one sessions, and I work with students who are on the autism spectrum, and one of my families only spoke Spanish. And so it was hard sometimes getting a translator in. So we actually used Immersive Reader to be able to communicate. And it was something that was really helpful to both of us, because I learned English. I learned Spanish, she learned more English. And while, yes, that might not be the best practice, it was something that was so wonderful that we were able to do that and help support our student. And he was able to hear both languages, which was really helpful to his learning. So what is Immersive Reader? Immersive Reader is a tool that helps us be able to see words that are words that we type onto Buncees. We can see them with line focus, or we can see them in syllables. We might be able to see them in different colors. There's a picture dictionary using the board maker, Toby Dynavox picture symbols, as well as you can have things translated into multiple languages. The other thing I like is that you can actually slow the speech down. For anyone who's ever heard me talk, I am a very fast speaker, and I get very excited to talk about things. And I think it's really a great way so kids can also hear speech. So if you have a student who may be a really fast talker, or a student who has trouble keeping up the pace when speaking, they can use that Immersive Reader feature to be able to hear things more clearly. And we're going to demonstrate that so you can see it. So during remote learning, we went to the gym. I mean, what else do? You got to exercise. We had to do things. So what we did, especially, is to use the Immersive Reader function, you're going to click on this little book with the speaker, and that's going to pull up the words. So again, it's going to have all of the words here. We are going to look at some of the features that you can look at. In the text preferences, you could change the side to make it bigger. You could increase the spacing, change fonts depending on what might be best for your students, and also use color themes. And so this is really great, especially if you have students who have low vision, minimal vision, or if you're writing on a specific or using specific colors to represent things. Another really great feature is that you can break up the words into syllables. So for some, whoopsie, there we go. So that way the students could see jumping, and they could see touch is. And that really can help our students as they're learning to read or sound out words. I use a lot of assistive technology with my students, And we follow a modified Fitzgerald key, which is a color coding system to help my students, and it matches their communication devices. And the nice part about Immersive Reader is I can turn that on. So if I want to have all the nouns turned on and I want them to be a certain color, I like good orange. Actually, no, I like yellow for my nouns. I could do that and all my nouns would be there. And then my verbs, I could make green, but maybe I don't want my adjectives on, so I don't have to put them on. So it really definitely gives you those options to help your students with reading. And then I can also do line focus, which is a really great feature when there's a lot of text on a piece of paper. So I might only want to be able to see one line or see a couple more or the whole thing. So it's really dependent on what I like. The picture dictionary is a great feature. It's from Boardmaker. And when you click on it, let's move this just in case, you'll see this is a coach, not necessarily the coach I was talking about. And it'll also say the word. So it's a really good feature so you can be able to understand it. And the last one is choose language. And again, as I was talking about before, for one of my students, we used, there's so many different languages there. I think it's over 80, but I could be wrong on that. We use Spanish. We had a choice between Latin American, Mexican, Mexico, or from Spain. We use Latin America, and we can go by word or by the entire document. So this really helped us because when we clicked on the word, I could also hear it in Spanish, which was really helpful for my student, as well as the student's family, as well as for me. So going back, when you press the red button, it's going to read it to you.
Coach pass gym 1. Jumping jacks. 2. Toe touches. 3. Line jumps. 4. Running.
And one thing I forgot to show you all, which is something that's really important. I know I mentioned it. Move this. Oopsie. There we go. Is when you have down here, you can press play, but you have those voice speeds. So you can choose if you want a female or a male voice, and if you want that sound speed to be a little bit slower or a little bit faster to meet your students' needs. So this was an activity we used in gym. We had a dice, and then the students would roll, and then the number, we would get to do the gym activities. So I was actually telling Gabby before about this. So right now I teach in New York City. We have some students who are on remote learning. So my student really loves Buncee, and we use it as a schedule. And what's great is it helps him read the words. So he actually went, I make a schedule for our sessions, and I wrote the words across, and then he got to pick the pictures that he liked. So for him, I will play it for him.
Talking.
And then he picked the pictures that he liked that expressed talking. The other thing, oh no, I can make my talking go down. Oh no. Oh,
you could X out. There's a little X at the top.
You know what it is?
You usually can click away too, but yeah, that will also work. Yep.
You know what happens, and this is such, just so everyone, total honesty, this is such a new world thing. Like the X was under the Zoom bar at the top. So yeah, welcome to the new world of technology. But for him, when he's having a really hard time working or focusing, especially since we're learning on computers and iPads, I can just bring back the schedule and just say the word, and then I can have his visuals up, so it reminds him. In Microsoft Teams, you can actually make a Buncee background, and that's what I did, and I have my visuals all over there. So we kind of go through with my student, and he knows what we'll be doing, and then for finished, all done, we do add the picture of what he's working for at that time in there, and he truly loves it. One of the other things we do is we talk about,
how do I feel today?
And what I do with a lot of my students is I want them to ask that question. So by putting that in here with the Immersive Reader function, it can give us a verbal prompt or a visual prompt, and then I don't need to be the person doing it. I love this. This one came from the Ideas Lab, and the reason we kind of loved it, my students picked this one out, was because it was candy, and we are coming up to that lovely candy season with Halloween, and so he liked to be the candy corn. He was feeling corny, like a candy corn, or sad, or fiery. So it was a lot of fun to see all the cool things he was doing with it. So in the beginning of the year, we always do an all about me thing. This is not the actual one. The names have been changed, just so you all know. But so this was actually, I think it was Francesca had made us this for New York City teachers when we were first learning about Buncee. But what my students did was they actually were practicing typing. So they did that, and then they could hear the
My
words back.
name is Kim.
And that was something that was really great. One of the features that I love about Buncee is that you can actually record a voice in there. So that's really helpful for my students who use assistive technology, because they can record their communication device, or they can actually record their own voice if writing may not be something that is coming to them, or they really need a lot of support with that spelling. And then she talked about her favorite princess is Ariel. We were able to find that picture, and she likes money and Snow White. Who does not love money and Snow White? But the nice thing is too, we had those additional pictures in there, and that they love that they could pick it out. And again, we have that Immersive Reader function in there, so it can read all of the text, and which makes it so much more of a support and accommodates my students with special needs. So we are going to be adapting items for classroom use. And one of the things, my students, and we've been talking about it, use communication devices. And one of them follows something called, they use mini speak symbols. And it's a program called Lamp Words for Life. And I think my iPad has, it might wake up. But what it is it has a program on it. And it's really a motor planning program. And it's a speech device program. And it's great for my students because they're able to communicate. So to help them learn the words, what we did was we printed out the pictures so they know this is where they had to find the word read on their communication device. But then when we went to the next page, they would see a book. And so when we were doing especially remote learning, because we always didn't have the materials, or they had some of the material at home, it was a great way to teach them things that were reinforcing to them, as well as to teach them those skills with their communication device. I love the fact that Buncee has these animations in them. It makes it so much more fun and engaging for my students. So same thing, my student loved to color. So he knew he had to go to the rainbow and then press color. And then it was great. So a crayon popped up with coloring. And then what we were also able to do then is ask him, so what color do you see here? Oh, what is this? What shape is this? And that was really helpful in generalizing those skills that we were practicing. Here was always a favorite. And the reason is with Buncee, you get to embed things. So I have a lot of students who like to be DJs. So we got to embed our video of Uptown Funk. Very big fans my students are of Uptown Funk, and we embedded the videos right in there. So when the student then would request to hear, he would get to hear his favorite song. And we had made notebooks in Buncee, and then we would continue to practice this. What's really great about this is that my students then had it on their own that they could practice for homework, and then also as maintenance skills. So to make sure they're continuing to practice those skills. As we're all learning, beginning of the year, we focus on colors. So what's more fun to make it about something that your students really love? So I have students who love dinosaurs. So what we did was, instead of just saying, oh, what color is, any item, we made a dinosaur scene in Buncee, and they would identify the picture of what it is, the color, the shapes. They could identify, the volcano they love because it moved. So it was something that really made them fun. So rather than just sitting there and drawing a picture, they kind of got to pick the elements that they really liked to be able to talk about. While it might not be Earth Day now, one of the things that we've been doing is virtual field trips. I know a lot of us have not been able to go on actual trips, but there is nothing more fun than an Earth Day virtual field trip or any field trip. And I also love how Buncee integrates with so many other amazing programs. So for example, Flipgrid does a lot of virtual field trips, and then we were able to combine them with Buncee. These are board maker symbols up here. We embedded them in there for my students so that they knew what they were doing first, then next, and last. And then they got to pick the pictures that describe the activities we'd be doing. So these are just two different examples for two different groups. This one we did an animal. We took a trip to the Bronx Zoo. The Bronx Zoo has free cameras on their website if anyone is ever looking for a virtual zoo trip. So we got to do that, and students really liked learning about it. So we actually also put in here for our students the rules. And again, because we have that immersive reader feature,
Mute your microphones.
the students knew what to expect and knew what they were supposed to be doing. So a student was able to read it, but then again, for some of our students who were ENL students, we were able to use that translation feature. Our multi-language learner students found it very effective. Well, I've seen other people post on there some sensory breaks. We did a lot of I Spy jars, and they became a lot of fun. For those of you who've been with Buncee, Buncee has amazing meetings to kind of just like these webinars. So we had done last year one where it was a snow globe. So we kind of took that idea and used it for our students. So we had our visuals embedded into there of how do you feel, I feel, and then the students had a choice of sad, tired, happy, and excited. Those were the 4 that we were working on. The nice thing also too is that we were able to use symbols that matched what our students look like, their culture, so it made them feel more comfortable. And then in the background here, they were able to tell us how they were feeling. We have our little happy guy, our sleepy guy, our sad one, and our excited happy face. So it's always a really fun time to do. We actually did one with safety symbols for my students. Beginning of the year, it's always great to focus on those safety symbols, especially as students are either walking to school, taking a bus to school. So we did the same thing with an I Spy jar that way. My students love to move and groove. So what we do is we embed a lot of things in here. So when we would click this link, and you can do that, I know they're sharing this presentation with you, you'll see that this brings you to a list of different movement activities you could do with the students. So we always got our students up and moving during our virtual activities, and using the Buncee picture was always fun. The kids love the dab. I mean, a little old school, but they, my students really love doing it, and it's fun to see them enjoy the pictures. In here, we were also able to, we talk about app smashing. So we were able to embed a read work story in here, which was really helpful for my students so that they could just click on it, go to their read work story, and log in as part of their work. Oops, I'm just gonna move my stuff because it always does that. Okay, and so that was really something that was so helpful. Make sure I go full screen for you guys. It's really helpful. And then my students know they're gonna be reading the book and to go to the link. Definitely embedding things in Buncee is so useful for my students, and it just makes it more fun and exciting. Again, we were talking with Earth Day, so we were watched a video, and the students really loved seeing the balloons and talking about recycling, and these pictures, of course, are so helpful for the students to see and identify. So this was an activity, and one of the things that I love about Buncee is that you guys, there's an ideas lab. So before you go and reinvent the wheel, and we're going to do a little activity, hopefully we'll have time because I do talk a lot, I got this from the ideas lab. So instead of me having to reinvent the wheel and make something new, I was able to find this and then modify it to meet my students' needs. So we were able to talk about what items go in the plastic bin and what goes in the metal. And again, still with that immersive reader function, which is so helpful
Metal.
because we're able to do it. They're able to see it, and then they're able to see those picture symbols so that they know exactly what we're talking about. There we go. All right, so in the beginning of the year, we want our students to practice those skills, like their first name, their last name. But what's more fun if you're going to take a virtual field trip than making a Buncee passport? So what we did was we actually picked all the places that we would like to visit on our virtual field trips and put them in our passport. And then we left space for what we'd be doing next. And the students are able to either upload a photo of themselves, or they can upload a drawing, which is a great feature in Buncee. Our students then practice writing or recording their first name, last name, birthday, age, as well as, it's not in this one, but their address, their phone number, and some other personal information. So instead of it just being something you filled out on a piece of paper, it was a little bit more fun and engaging for my students to kind of see it on their devices. One of the things that we did when we all pivoted to remote, we kind of missed our classrooms. So one of the things we did was remade on Buncee a classroom. And I was able to, in our classroom, we do structured teaching. So our students would have to go to different activities. So we developed our schedule in here, and we made all the pieces so our students could see it. And it actually brought them back to knowing what they had to do every day and made them feel like they were part of the classroom. All right, so Ideas Lab and App Smashing. So there is nothing more fun, and there's a reason this is blank, is because I want to take you to the Ideas Lab and do some fun activities. I love, my dashboard. There's my, so I love App Smashing Buncee with pretty much anything. And it's a really fun, great way to practice different skills. I've used it with Nearpod and Pear Deck, and I love now that Buncee is with Capstone. I'm so excited because that just brings such another fun layer for my students. Just showing you a little example of my classroom. So when they would click on, oh, of course my links aren't going to work now. Well, if they worked, and this is in the presentation, it would take you to some videos of my students. We practice washing our hands, things like that. But with that being said, I want to show you all our amazing Ideas Lab. So let's
Melissa, if you do want to share the videos, I think it's possible that the shapes are on top of your links and just blocking them.
It's so funny because I've showed this before in one, and I remember every time I think of it, I have to change that, and then I forget. So
if you go to edit and if you move them, yeah, that might be the issue.
Yes, and it's always a good thing to show. So yeah, so I have to move my little shapies. They always overlap a little. So we'll move our little triangle and then preview. You guys can see it. Always fun time. There we go. And then that would take me, so my students would follow it. This was an image we were doing of sorting tasks. So we do a lot of video modeling for students. So I actually did this with an Apple program, made the video, and then the students knew to copy the task with this material. So just a fun thing to embed to make it a little bit more fun for the students. But I do want to show you that Ideas Lab, and maybe we have a few minutes to create something. So the Ideas Lab is something that I love because I always want to work smarter and not harder. And I think that is something that is always available to you in the Ideas Lab. So, and we can tell it's the end of the day because my voice is going. So you can hit enter and search. So I'm going to put in an all about me. And then you're going to get some ideas. Do you want to create a digital global quilt? Share your interest in all about me info card. This is one we've actually done it in our class. So I'm going to show it to you. I copied it, and now I'm going to go to edit. And so what's really great is with this, my students were able to add things and add things that were really important to them. So we practice adding your name here. I'm just gonna put mine. For some of our students, we would maybe put a visual support there of a name so they know it. I love how Buncee already has embedded in the picture of the house so they know to put the address. And then you can pick one of these amazing things to add. Maybe you want an emoji, you want to record a video, take a photo, do a web image. I love 360 image. It is so much fun, kind of like a virtual trip. We did one for the desert and it was fun. So I'm gonna say I live in a house. I'm gonna add my text here. Oops. I am not the best at sizing. It takes me a few minutes even after all the time. And then maybe I want to add an animation. So I'm going to look for an apartment building. Let's see. Oh, there's no apartment building. It's like for a house. Trial and error is always the greatest thing. And I'm going to add this picture of a house for my my all about me. So definitely, I love with the Ideas Lab that you're able to do this and find something that'd be really great for your students, especially as we're going back to school. And that way they can share so much about themselves and share more information. And then if you go to preview, you'll get those great features such as that immersive reader that you can use. So that's one. And then I want to show you guys in our last few minutes before we do some Q&A. We also, okay. So this was our Ideas Lab, but we also, oopsie. Sorry, everyone. This is my other Buncee. Okay. So sometimes it's fun to just create and be you and show what your favorite things are. So with my students, we'll create. I love the fact that we have some templates that we can use. So for example, right now, social emotional learning is something that we're really focusing on with our students as we've had back. So we will talk about feeling angry. And so I'm going to use this template, read about feeling angry, then share what you learned on the next page. So we might read our story and then our students can write or record any of the things they want about what they did. So I might want to record a video. I feel angry when I have to work a really long time and I'm tired. And then I'm going to upload that video to my Buncee, which is great for students then to be able to see it. It's also a really great way to capture what your students are doing. That is such not the most attractive picture of me. So yeah, that's great. But it is nice to see. And then when it's in preview, you can see the video. So I know that I talk at the fastest speed of late. But I really wanted to show you guys that stuff. So I know I did finish a few minutes before, but I wanted to open it up for questions and answers. Anything that you're thinking about, anything that you're doing in your classroom or with your students or as your family that you'd like to share.
Thank you, Melissa. That was so amazing. I love seeing all the different ideas. I think I even said in the chat, there was a point where you talked about adapting the snow globe idea that we had done on our ambassador call and using it in a totally different way. And I thought that was so creative. I really love that. Layering is the big trick with that, right? Like you can use one of our transparent objects or even make an item more opaque with the opacity tool and then put items behind it to make it look like they're inside.
And what I have to say, what I love is that you guys have in the animation, you have so many different types of, it looks like glitter in a way or snow. So it really makes it cool because the students can pick really the ones that they like. Some kids like really fine in their snow globes. Some really like bigger things. So those little things that's what we're here for our students, to make it accessible, make it inclusive, make it all about them. And those little itty bitty things just make it so much more special.
Yeah, absolutely. And any way that you can kind of add your own creative touch, I think is really fun, definitely. So we did have at least one, one or two questions. I do see in the chat, actually, and it was something I was wondering as well. What has been, your most successful, or maybe just your favorite accessible activities that you've created with Buncee, that you've done with your students, and what has been their response as well?
So I really do love using my students use a lot of assistive technology. So I've been able to use like a snipping tool or a screenshot pictures, which I know is not the most accessible. So for people who screen readers, this might not be the best thing. But what I did, we did dioramas. So my students got to pick the topic they wanted to do. And then to work on the vocabulary, we embedded the pictures of their communication device in there with the sound of the communication device. And it was one of the greatest activities, because it really showed. Sometimes I don't think we always, with the day to day, we don't get to see that growth in our students, or we don't get to see that glow in them, and to see them talking about a topic that some people might not think they could talk about, to me was just, it meant more to me than anything else. And especially because we were remote at the time, getting to see that with their families, that meant the world to me too. Getting to see their families, see them talk about dinosaurs when, a couple of weeks ago they were only labeling colors. But having those supports in Buncee and having those fun images, it makes it more fun and real for the students.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's really important to kind of, to see, like, to connect with them too. Like, and so if they're, if they're trying to learn about something, like, how can you relate it back to them too? And that's like so helpful with the dinosaurs and everything like that, like you said. I think that's so helpful as well for students. I did have another question. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to add, so I do want to say, I know we're talking about students, but we've, over the last year, we've had a few retirement parties, and things can't be always in person. So we've actually made Buncees for adults as, going away cards, and they were really great. And I know we're talking about, just for students, but it really is magical for our staff to get to see, letters of love and support. It's not just for our students, it's for us too.
Absolutely, yes. And I mean, definitely the Buncee team, we've done that as well. We've done all throughout the, anytime we've been working from home or anything like that, we've done little Buncee get-togethers where we're sharing, maybe fun activities, or we're, we're having like 3 truths and a lie parties. So like little about me's, like getting to know each other, getting to connect with each other with Buncee too. So it's definitely something, not just for students, definitely something you can do with your colleagues, and also, I think I mentioned earlier, I think in the chat as well, Immersive Reader is also something that is so helpful for students, but also for parents. So again, something else that's not just for students, it's something parents and family members, if you are, if they want to just be more involved in their child's schoolwork, they can take a look at Immersive Reader, read it in their native language, or if they have any other needs that Immersive Reader can help them with. And or if you are sharing newsletters with parents and family members, that's another way to do that as well, with Immersive Reader.
I also just to add, we did a lot of New York City has an amazing schools tech. I have to give them a shout out. And I actually, when we do our meetups, it's actually cool to make an agenda in a Buncee, because it is way more fun than just a regular document. It moves and it grows, and it's really exciting to see. So it's a great way for all of us.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think there's so many different options, and that just makes it visually interesting. But also, like, it's engaging, it's fun. Yeah, absolutely. I think I saw another question. I think I know some of your students are special needs, so maybe kind of different levels and things like that. But in general, like, what grade levels would you say you use Buncee for?
So I'm actually a K through 12 teacher.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I've used it in actually all grades. For my kindergartners, they may not make the Buncees. It might be more they're picking. For some of my older students, they're filling in, they were the ones who really wanted to do the passport as a way to, over the summer, we did the Olympics as our summer theme. And so they filled out their passport before going. And then when we visited each country, they filled out something about the country. So I've used it from, for all ages and grades, because it's just a fun tool. It's just something fun and exciting. And to my students, a lot of times they kind of feel like it's not the same level of work as when I'm like, all right, we're going to fill in this, worksheet. So it's a lot more fun and engaging.
Yes, absolutely. I always think back, I'm like, oh, I wish I had Buncee when I was in school. I really liked school, but just for some things, they are so much more engaging and fun when you are on Buncee, when you are using technology and just, again, relating things to your students in different ways, giving them different ways to express their learning. It just makes it a lot more fun and engaging. And I wish that I had that for a lot of things in school, definitely. Yeah, so I think I don't see any other questions at the moment. I just wanted to share really quickly about our giveaway again before we hop off. So just bear with me while I go ahead and share my screen just for a moment.
Thank you for everyone for coming. I really appreciate it, and hope to talk to you soon.
Absolutely, yes. And thank you again, Melissa, so much for your amazing presentation. Everyone in the chat, what did you learn from this presentation? We'd love to see it. Please go ahead and make a Buncee about what you learned during this presentation. Share it with us on social. Go to our Twitter, of course, tag @Buncee, and use the hashtag BTS with Buncee, and you'll be entered for a chance to win one of these bright blue Eat, Sleep, Create t-shirts. They're really fun and bright blue, and I really love them. So definitely go ahead, let us know what you learned, make a Buncee about it, share it with us, and you might be entered for a chance to win. So with that all squared away, again, Melissa, thank you so much for joining in and for being with us here tonight and sharing all of your ideas with us. I know, I think in the chat, we've seen a lot of people really inspired and ready and raring to go. Jenna, did you have anything else that you wanted to add as well?
Yeah, Melissa, first of all, thank you so much for sharing with us. I know, New York City and New York State in general is such a diverse area, and, just this accessibility is so important, especially in the classroom. So, huge kudos to you, and, the relationship that you very clearly have with your students is really awesome to see. So yeah, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Melissa, again. And thank you everyone so much for being here this evening or this morning, wherever you are from. Take care, everyone, and stay tuned for more new and exciting live webinars coming up real soon. So take care, everyone. Be sure to enter that giveaway, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Take care.